I've been a Star Trek fan since July 1966 when I saw the first promo for the first adult science fiction series. It showed the ship and it showed Captain Kirk with the phaser rifle. And of course, I was hooked. So 10 years later, 1976, we're putting on the very first Star Trek convention in Kansas City, and William Shatner is going to be the guest. Now, conventions in those days were put on by volunteers, and they were lucky if they broke even because we were just giving the fans a chance to meet the stars. So, William Shatner needed to be picked up at the airport, and I had a 72 Plymouth that was big and clean and newer than any of the other members on the committee had. So I got to pick William Shatner up at the airport. Picked him up at KCI with one other committee member, got his bags, and headed back to town. Now, one of the reasons, besides the car, that I got the assignment was I was working in broadcasting at that point in time, and they knew that I could be trusted to keep my inner fanboy in check. Because inside, Captain Kirk is in my car! But outside, how are you, Mr. Shatner? And we didn't discuss show business or Star Trek at all. We discussed Montreal and his love of Montreal, and we discussed Kansas City, as I pointed out some of the various features that we happen to be going by. Got him to the hotel, said, Mr. Shatner, is there anything I can do for you? And he said, I'd like some fresh orange juice. So if you could find me some oranges, that would be great. The only hitch was this is downtown Kansas City. There's no supermarkets. There's no 7-Elevens. There's nothing that I knew of, but I headed out, and that's how I found out there are very small ethnic groceries on several corners in downtown Kansas City, or were at that time, and that's where I found some oranges. And those oranges, of course, I had to go to Mr. Shatner's room to give him his oranges, and so I was there with a couple of other committee members when he asked, is there any place in town that you can get a good meal? And at that point in time, the best was the Savoy Grill, which I recommended to him, and understand he had a very enjoyable meal. Well, of course, I got to take him back to the airport. Again, no talking of Star Trek or show business, just, regular people talk. And I'm sure of all the thousands of fans that he has met since then, he doesn't remember me at all. But I'll always remember my first. Thank you, William Shatner.